sometimes they call it general objective. It is one sentence that states your overall goal, the main goal, the overall goal, to be able to solve the problem. Okay? For example, the general objective of the project is to develop an online banking system. Maybe there is a problem with all banks in the country. The main problem is not all people can go to the bank building, especially nowadays. I mean, in these circumstances, for people who are living in villages, and they cannot reach the banks, so they cannot get access to their accounts. If we assume that there is money. Okay, so maybe the solution for this is to develop online banking system. Okay, so the person can go through the internet and surf the internet, see, check his account, maybe buy something through his online banking. And this is in developed countries. For example, in Malaysia, we used to use the online banking for everything. Okay, when we get our money, the money will be banked only to your banking, and then you just go to the internet. You have an application, Android application in your phone. Then you just log in and see if, for example, the money is transferred to your account or not. Then you can top up maybe your balance for your phone calling. Maybe you can buy anything from everywhere in the world using your online banking. You can go to the mall and only use your card or your online banking. Everything will online. I mean, everything is, you don't have to take money with your pockets. Everything is online, using the cards or using online banking transactions. So this is the general objective, is to develop online banking system to solve many problems. This is just an example about the general objective. So what are the project objectives or specific objectives? We say in specific objectives, we enumerate or we write a number of specific targets to accomplish the general objective. We have general objective. How to achieve it? We divide the task into number of small tasks. Enumerate specific targets to accomplish the general objective. Must be specific. Okay? Here is general, but here must be specific. Must be measurable. You can measure the objective. It must be attainable. Attainable means you can do it. Okay? Realistic. It shouldn't be magic objective. Okay? Realistic. And time bounded. Should be achieved during a time period. Specific time period. Time bounded. For example, if we take the first one, which is the general one, general objective was to develop online banking system. The specific could be one. The specific could be to design a model that handles daily bank transactions. This is one specific task of the online banking system, which is the daily bank transactions. Transactions means when I withdraw money from the account, deposit money to the account. This is what we mean by daily bank transactions. Withdraw, deposit, transfer to somebody, transfer to somebody else, buy, maybe buy something from the internet. Okay? All these things are daily bank transactions. So this is one specific task or one specific objective. Should be one of your research objectives. This is just an example. Okay, after the objectives we have the research scope. Scope, we said the scope is the boundary, the borders. Okay? you should be careful to put borders for your research. This is your research. You have to put borders. You don't go outside the borders. Because if you put it without scope, without borders, then you will not finish. You will still do the research, do and do and do and do. Who will help you to define the borders? You and your supervisor. Because he will know better that you should do until this. This is your scope. And the scope for master student is different from the scope of PhD student. For the PhD, you need to do so many things. For the master, it's just little. And it depends also on the type of master. If it is master, by mixed mood means you study subjects and then you do research, then the scope should be not that much. But if you are doing master totally in research, you don't have any subject, then the scope should be border. Okay? So the scope is very important. The borders of your research is very important. The scope and limitations of the project, you should say also what your project cannot do. This is a very important thing. My project can do this and this and this. This is my scope. This is my borders. And it cannot do this and this and this because this is out of my scope.
Country or time or country or time?
It is, it can be in terms of time. For example, now, maybe you have 1 year to do your work, so you have to choose the task that can be finished through 1 year. Okay? And it can be in the work itself. For example, this work is only can be implemented for our country, for Yemen. Cannot be applied for different country because the variables in different countries are different. Okay? Okay, the implementation of my work will be only, for example, using simulation. We don't have, in some projects, we don't have equipment. For example, for people who are doing in networking, they cannot have lab for the network. Every time that he want to do the research, he cannot find the lab. So what should he do? Just use the simulation. Simulation. Yes. So using the simulation, he should say in his scope that this work will be based on simulation. Or sometimes it's based on mathematical modeling. I will prove the things that I will say mathematically. Okay? Discuss what will be included and not included in your project, as well as any other constraints or assumptions. If you do some assumptions, also you need to say what are the assumptions. Assumptions means افتراضات. When we assume that this thing is, because in research, some research depends on previous research. Okay? So if you want to do the previous research, in order to do your research, then maybe you will need 5 years. So you just assume that the previous steps are achieved by previous studies. And then you build on previous studies. You just use that base, use that studies, and just build on it. Okay? This is what we said last time. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You remember? If somebody do part of the task before, you don't need to do it again. Just use what the previous one did and just build on it. Okay? This is you need to put your assumptions, constraints. When you go through research, you will understand all these things. Significance of the project, or the research significance. What this research, what made this research different? Explain why the project must be done. Why should I do this project? Rationalizes the objective of the project, focus on the project use, and contribution to the field of information technology and the target entity. For example, if you are applying information technology for government, which is the e-government, you need to show how the contribution to the field of information technology and the target entity. What we mean by target entity for your case, for example, is government. For your case is education institutes. This is your target entity. This is the place that you will apply your solution. So show how, focus on the project use, the contribution to the field of information technology and the target entity. Okay? Understand? Project methodology, you need to summarize your methodology because you will have one chapter, which is chapter 3. After that, we are here talking about proposal. But when you do your final research or final thesis, you will have chapter 3, which is research methodology. Will be a detailed, okay, methodology. This will be one chapter, chapter 3, research methodology. This is when you write your final thesis. But for the proposal, you include your research methodology, summary of research methodology in chapter 1. Okay? In chapter 1, you just write a summary about research or project methodology. List and discuss the specific steps. What is the methodology? Methodology means the steps that you will use to achieve your study, to implement your project. List the steps, discuss in brief, of course in brief, the specific steps and activities that will be performed by the proponent, which is you, to accomplish the project. For example, you are doing inquiry, you are doing survey, brainstorming, conversing, consultation, review, interview, observation, experiment, design, test, document, all these things. If you are using, of course, in your research you will use only part of them, not all of them. This is just examples. Okay? So you have to list them and discuss the specific steps of these activities. For example, in interview, what you are doing in interview? You will go to this place and interview people in that place and ask them about this and this and this. What you are doing in your observation, you will go to this place and observe by yourself that how these things will be done, how these things is implemented, how these things, okay, so you need to just summarize, list and discuss the steps and activities. For example, in questionnaire, in your questionnaire or inquiry, what you are going to ask people in the questionnaire, what should be the parts of the questionnaire, how length should be the questionnaire, and all these things you should mention in your methodology. If you are doing a technical research, you will talk about the design of your model, and you will talk about the experiment. You are doing experiment, for example, programming. You are writing a program to do something. Okay? So you will write about the design and the experiment, what you are going to do, and what are the steps. And also, not only the steps and activities, also who is responsible for the task. Who is the person or the entity who will be responsible or do that task? The resource person to be contacted. Who are the people who will be contacted? For example, in the interview, who are the people that you are going to contact, and what will be done in the interview. So not just to say, okay, I will do interview. Okay, interview with whom? Who are the person? Okay, and who is responsible? Who are the person who will do the interview? Is it you or somebody else? And what will be done during the interview? When and how long? When the interview will be done? How long the interview will be taken? When the activity can be done? And where it will be done? Where you are going to interview? In his office, in his house, in the street, in your organization, in your university. Why should the activity be done? And also you have to justify why should I do that interview. And after the methodology, the last part of the methodology is what I told you is the time scheduling. Gantt chart, showing the schedule of the activities. If you have in your methodology 5 activities, you have to put the activity and the time frame. For example, this activity will be start on this date and finish in this date. This one, this one, this one, this one. And this one, which is a Gantt chart, will be part of your research methodology and will be attached to this section in chapter 1. And you can do it easily in Microsoft Project. And make sure to make some extra time. Because in the project, usually, many things can be happen suddenly. You cannot expect. So you need to add some extra time for each task. Okay? Especially for the projects that are funded, not for the study. If you are doing proposal for project that this project is funding, there is some organizations who pay for that project, then it is very important to put schedule. Because if you are behind the schedule, then they may ask you why. But for your study also, you need to put time scheduling if you want to graduate on time. Graduation on time in some universities is very important. Sometimes when they give some awards in the convocation, after you finish your master, for example, and you are looking to get the award, you are the first one, maybe your CGPA, there is another thing called graduation on time. Because somebody can graduate on 3 years master. Take only 1 or 2 subjects per semester, okay? And then you will get the final mark. And for you, maybe you take 4 subjects per semester or 5 subjects per semester. And you finish your master in 1.5 years. Then graduation on time for you will be better. But for him will be less than you. So he will get the high CGPA, but for you, you will get the best GOT, they call it graduation on time. So in order to be graduated on time, you need to make schedule for your research, good schedule. But in our case, a lot of things can change.
That chart, when I use?
Do it from the start. Now you are planning for your project. You do the plan. So write the schedule for your project. For example, you start your project now. After 1 year, you will be finished. So through that 1 year, you can put Gantt chart for all the tasks that you will do. And print it out and put it in front of you. When you sleep, you can see it. This is my schedule. I should be graduated on that time. So put it in front of your desk, table.
And design or any model?
It is very easy. You can do it using Microsoft Project. Just put the name of the task and specify the time. And the time can be